morning, everyone. My name is Andres, and I am the co-founder of TerraNova UAV. Today, I'm here with Alex, my lovely wife, and also co-founder of TerraNova UAV. But let me start with a question. Who here knows about us? Let's show off hands. Oh, no kidding. We got a few. Nice. We're becoming famous. That's good. We've been here a couple of years now. We've done this presentation, and hopefully you will. For those who don't know us, we hope to share some of what we do, some of our technology, some of the advantages, what we've learned. And for those who have seen us before, for those who know us, well, thank you for being here again. And then we hope that every time that we meet, that we get something new, that we bring something new to the table about how technology is evolving and how growers are at the forefront of this technology and this change, and how with this interaction and with all these tools at your disposal, we can create value and we can add value to the agriculture industry in general. So let's get started here. We're going to start here with a nice picture right there. I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen. The gentleman here on your left, does anyone know here who that gentleman is? Oh, sorry about that. It's a little hard to see. It's shining a lot. Okay, so who knows who he is? That's correct. Yeah, that's Steve Redmond. Steve Redmond is an agronomist. He's well known in the community, and he recently joined us as an agronomy consultant. He was here to do the introduction. He was supposed to be here to do the introduction for our presentation, but unfortunately something came up, so he couldn't make it. However, I hope we can kind of convey his message from that picture is from our last event out east last week, out in Chesterville, and he helped us do the presentation. He's an agronomy consultant now, so either at the end of the presentation we have his card, or if you have any questions for me that I can't answer or that are too advanced for us, I'm sure that he'll be able to help you guys out. All right, but let's get started with this. So Steve joined us, and the reason why he joined us is because he believes in this technology. He's been toying with it. He's been playing with aerial imagery since probably 2010, and he was using equipment back then. The one that you see on your right, that's a $12,000 piece of styrofoam, basically with a camera strapped to it. That was a plane back then, and the equipment that you see on your left, that's called an Arion, and that equipment had a sensor that had, I believe, an NDVI sensor, and that was like the first drone that came up for agriculture. They ended up just doing applications for the military because they realized that in the military there's more money to be made, so let's just move on to another industry. However, Steve did have one of those. He paid like $60,000 for that equipment, and 5-6 years later it ended up being depreciated, and right now it's a $60,000 paperweight basically. Now we're a far cry from that now. It's 2023 and technology has run really, really fast, and we're trying to stay on top of every new development. And so now we have the drone, and I want to be very clear about this. The drone is just a tool. It's just the initial tool that brings a whole lot of it's a workflow that will allow you to bring value to the field. We focus on the decisions that bring value to your operation, whether it's increasing yields, whether it's reducing input costs, whether it's also reducing greenhouse gas emissions. We know that there's a big push from the government to use less nitrogen, so how can we do that without compromising the quality of our crops, while at the same time we're making a buck doing it? So Steve joined us, like I said, 2023, and we're happy to share that now it's simplicity. We're trying to make this as seamless as possible for growers. And how do we do this? We start with this. Like we said, this is a drone. Who has seen this drone before? Maybe a few of you. Yes, that have been part of the tour. Some of you haven't. This is a multispectral drone. The brand is DJI. This is along with an RTK station. It's about a $25,000 piece of equipment with batteries and accessories and all that. But the beauty of this is it has 6 cameras on them that take pictures not only like a normal phone would do or something that or light that the human eye can detect, but it also has near infrared and red edge sensors that can detect signals that the plants send out when they're still green, signals that the human eye cannot detect. So plants, when they feel stress, they change their chlorophyll signature and they start sending out those signals. So we can capture those signals. We take thousands of pictures across the fields, hundreds, thousands of acres, and then we stitch them together. We put them together into a single map, and then you can see those signals. What we do is we put all those maps together, we create a link, we send it to your phone, we can even send you a text. Any way you want, we can get that information to you, and then you can see yourself pretty much walking through the fields on different layers, which we will show you in a second, to do directed scouting, to do variable rate applications, to do plant count, you name it.
And we also have
You can say, yeah, go ahead. Oh yes, we have a solar light sensor here that helps us adjust the exposure year after year or depending on the season, and that way you can compare results from a map that you can do at 10 a.m. in the morning in the spring compared to a late summer 2 p.m. map that we put together of that same field. So it gives us comparable results, and then you can see if the actions that you took on your field based on the initial imagery actually made a difference, right? Now, but let's go back and let's focus again on the objective of this presentation. We want to show you some of the lessons that we learned from 2023, where we're at right now, and a glimpse into the future, what the future holds for us in terms of applying high resolution, multispectral imagery using drones, which is the best technology right now to get this kind of imagery, and how we can make better decisions and improve our operation with it. So this field is out in Tilsonburg, and who want to take a wild guess as to what that red stain or that red layer on top of it is? What could that be? Well, I don't judge you. That doesn't make much sense. It's a red blob on top of a map. So let's get a little closer. Can we see something better now? Maybe a little bit closer. It's a little bit hard to see, but I'll just describe it.
You know what? We can put the computer for them on the.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Let's just move it any way we can to. Perhaps you can see this. Those are rows. Those are rows, and every red dot is a plant. So this is very high resolution imagery using drones and using artificial intelligence to count every single plant on a field. This is where the technology is. We can see the spacing. You can see every single plant. You can see the gaps. And you can see the plants there. They're actually a little hard to see, but the sensors and the artificial intelligence that we are applying here can actually detect every single plant. Let's go back to the map. Now, what can you do with these plant counts? You can break it down into different plots of any size. You can break it down into individual rows, 8 rows sections, so you can compare different varieties to see different how they behave differently. We can get all that for you. You can put it, you can overlay it on top of a variable cedar, and then you can see, or you can compare your as applied versus what actually emerged. You can get emergence rates. You can find areas with higher plant populations versus lower, so you also know what areas of the field have higher yield potential, so you can focus your efforts on the areas that really require attention. So it's very interesting. Now, this field was approximately 28 acres. In relative terms, it's not that big of a field. So you would ask yourself, okay, can you do this for, like, I don't know, 100 acres? In this case, we counted 650,000 plants. In this other field out in Exeter, We did 180 acres and we counted approximately 5.1 million plants. And again, all this information went to the grower to find out areas of higher versus lower potential and understanding what his as applied versus what actually emerged worked. So this is just one of the examples, one of those cases that we learned that we did this year. This, just last year, we could only promise that this technology would come one day. We'd say, yeah, there's the single plant counting. Now it's a reality. Now we're doing it. It's moving really fast. There's another case here. This one is a really interesting one. In this case, the grower wanted to do a variable application. They wanted to spray nitrogen on winter wheat, but of course they wanted to focus on the areas that needed it the most. So what did we do here? This algorithm here is called NDRE, or normalized difference red edge. In other words, it reads the signals from the plants based on their potential to absorb nitrogen. Nitrogen uptake higher versus lower, and the grower basically said, I know that there are some areas where the plants, no matter how much nitrogen I add to them, they're not going to take any more. Whereas there's other areas with higher potential that can take advantage of the nitrogen that I didn't apply here. So how can we turn this into a variable rate? And sure enough, we put the map together, again, high resolution, and then we turn this into a variable application prescription, which really helped them. And this, what's really interesting about this case is not only that we were able to differentiate areas based on different spraying rates, but at the same time, the grower calls us one day. We sent him this file to his email. He put the file onto his sprayer, and he calls us from the tractor, and he said, okay, you know what, I'm just trying to do this. Let's go through, the steps. And then, so we did it. We put it on the tractor, and he starts driving, and he goes like, oh, it's changing. And we're like, yes, exactly. It's very good. It's technology applied with this imagery all the way down to how we're going to save on inputs and how we're going to get higher yields for our fields.
Did it work?
It worked.
Did it work?
It worked, yes.
So, did you get higher yield for less nitrogen?
So I believe the case with him at the end is that it was like very dry at the end. So he wasn't able to get like a full comparison, but at the very least he was able to save some of the nitrogen, and he was able to focus on the right areas. So just the same way that you can do this with winter wheat, you can do it with corn. You can do spot applications. The most important ones for us right now, especially with the push from the government, is winter wheat and corn. Let's move on to the next one. What's happening here? There we go. Now, this is a research project. This was another potential application, another one of the lessons from this year. We did this research project with OMAFRA, with Tracy Bolte, and what we were trying to do was correlating the presence of western bean cutworm based on plant stress. We got a couple of very interesting results, very promising. There's still more development that needs to be done with OMAFRA, but we're getting there. This imagery is getting us to the point where we can detect these kind of things. Now, for western bean cutworm, like I said, it's still in development, but for rootworm, we said this is the lowest hanging fruit. We can definitely tap into multispectral imagery to detect it. And then, just like that, this year we did the Ontario Yield Tour with Mo Agostino, and then we flew different farms. We put together a few maps. We pinpointed, this is another really interesting thing, because we use RTK technology. We can know the location of every single plant on the field with centimeter level accuracy. So we put pins on those areas of concerns, areas of high stress, and we sent out another high resolution camera drone. The drone flew really, really low, took the pictures and came back. All those pictures that you see there, the bottom left, top, and then bottom right, they're all taken with the drone. Really high resolution, and we were able to detect drought, bug damage, disease, you name it. All these things can be detected. So at the very least, for scouting, this high resolution imagery really helps with making the scouts' lives easier. Whether it's yourself, whether you have a scout, instead of just walking the fields, we have a motto that says, "Stop scouting, there's a better way." And this is the way, because you can go to those exact spots and then you can find out exactly what might be going on. Or you can also send a high resolution camera drone. Either you ask us to do that, or if you already own a drone, you can absolutely go and take the pictures, because we have the location again of every single plant. So very, very interesting applications that we saw this year of this high resolution imagery. What does the future hold? You name it. And now what I'd like to do here is for you to start thinking. For us, and this is one of the lessons that we've learned over the years, is there's no standard when it comes to farming. There is no one size fits all solution. Nothing that we can say like, you know what, we have this for you and this will help you, increase your yields. No, not really. What we're really seeing and what we really like is to have that conversation and to receive that from you, saying like, hey, what if you did this? Would your imagery detect X for me to increase my yields? What about a variable application? I'm just trying to scout for weeds. I'm trying to count my plants. You name it. There are different ways or different techniques that farmers, that growers are using to grow their fields. So let's start the conversation. Let's start talking about what can be done with this. So I'm just going to show you a couple of potential applications, and then we'll take a minute to discuss that. One is tile measurement. So from the air, because we can detect those individual rows or those plants that are greener just because they are sitting on top of a tile, then we can take those images and we can measure it. We can, there's another one here. That is one. Now, to achieve maximum yield, we can put together maps of dryness analysis. So to make sure that everything is nice and dry and ready for harvest. So for timing decisions, it's great. Of course, those two that I mentioned, those are two solutions that we're currently doing this fall. Obviously, pre-harvest dryness analysis. I don't know why this is not. There we go. And then there's the advanced count. Now we also have reports that can determine the gaps between the plants. I mean, again, you name it. The technology is there. It's advancing really fast. So the plant counts, weed detection. We're doing patchy weed detection right now, so you can target it next year. I mean, this is just one of so many things that we can think about for application. Winter wheat, early April. That's another application that recently came up for crop destruction or to detect areas that are drowned, so you know where not to apply like pesticide, herbicide, because if it's drowned, then it doesn't make any sense to spray there, right? So, and that's it. I mean, those are just a few of the, again, many examples and many possibilities that we have with aerial imagery. That is, again, that we keep developing and that we just want to hear from you. I should clarify, we provide the service. We've had this question before. We provide the service. We go to the field. You pretty much just point at the field and tell us, okay, I want that field flown. I want this kind of solution. We go there, we fly, we put together the map for you, and then we send you the link. Once again, you can see yourself walking through the field. These are live maps and live information that are focused for you to make decisions on the field and add value.